Yes, I know we're not the same. I'm so tired of playing games. You don't have to be so hard. Just tell me your dreams, the things you like. What turns you off, what makes you doubt. I'll tell you my deepest secrets. I wanna let them out. Hiding a million different things. Waiting for the nighttime to see what it brings. And I'm still even deep in my head. And sometimes I feel my heart is dead. Maybe tonight, late in bed, could I love instead? Yeah, I'm still even deep in my head. And sometimes I feel my heart is dead. Maybe tonight, late in bed, could I love instead?
Hey there, welcome back guys, we're live. Welcome back to the live stream where the adventure continues. We're going to be using the merge cube to see what happens. My kids actually finished the adventure. Apparently there's a little spoiler. I'll get into the spoiler alerts later, but you really can choose your own adventure. And there are many different endings. Again, there's a link in the description if you want to download this. You don't need a merge cube, it's free. You just print it, you tape it, and in the end, when it's all taped up, well, I guess I must have given one to my kids, the default one, but we have this one here. It turns into a little square. Maybe at the end of this video, we'll just build another one since the other one was given away, and this one is on loaner. So without any further ado, let's get started. Let's continue the adventure. Again, I'm going to share with you, who's that? Yo, I didn't hear no bells. All right, I heard the bells, but as you know, on the live stream, unfortunately, it does not Streamlabs, even though it's supposed to. It's good for business because when it doesn't, we can say, welcome back to Everything That Glitches, but I heard the ding, now I gotta find the ding-a-ding-ding. Ah, there we go. Bradley Eastman, 6992, shout out to you, welcome. Jeff Goldblum, how many times a day do you hear that? I've been hearing it a lot lately, but a good thing is I like that. I like when I hear that because life will find a way. I used to get it growing up, except they didn't call me Jeff Goldblum because nobody knew his name. They would say, you look like the guy from The Fly. I was like, what's The Fly? Because I didn't see the movie until later. I was like, ah, that's what they're talking about. So I guess now that I'm older, I look like him. But that's cool. I like that. That's fine. So knowing that and moving forward, we're going to get started with the merge cube, see where they left off. But let me show you the different scenarios, the different adventures. Apparently the developer who developed 57 Degrees North shared the cheat sheet with us. So let's find that cheat sheet. And you're going to need Twine to open it. Twine is just sort of like this Gantt chart software that allows you to do things like this. And you can see all the alternate endings and scenarios that you can get with 57 Degrees North. Not lost, they are lost, north. So as you can see, this kind of teaches you a bit about cause and reaction, because as you can see, if you make a choice here, you can go there. And if you make a choice here, you can go here and then go there. But for those of you who can't see, because the Instagram and TikTok feed is a little bit different, let me just activate the cursor. And so all I know is what not to do based on what my kids shared. But apparently Wilson is the AI is the bad guy, and there's somebody else on the island. So I don't know. I'm not sure how far we'll get, but maybe we'll extend the adventure to see if we can get these alternate scenarios and endings. And there are different versions where Sasha and Caleb become unalived. And again, those scenarios, let's see, story ends right there. So I'm not sure where that is, but we made it all the way to chapter 5. So we didn't make any false moves. So we are golden in that sense. But as you can see, all the different alternate endings. So the story doesn't end. It's all based on choice. And each choice you make is kind of like the butterfly effect. Oh, wow. We'll have different cause and oh, wow. Oh, my God. And reaction. So, you know, it can get confusing. One of my kids was like, I just want to play the game. And that's pretty much where I'm at. Like, I just want to play the game. And hopefully no one becomes unalived. But they did share, my kids, spoiler, I think for those of you, ditch the phones. So apparently the AI, I think it's Wilson, is watching the phones and monitoring things, pretending to help you. So ditching the phones, one of my daughters says, will get you to the epilogue. And that's what we want to get. We want to finish the game and then maybe see what happens in a different scenario where we keep the phones, right? But if you were watching this in the beginning before my kids gave me the spoiler, I was like, ditch the phones anyway in the beginning. I was like, who needs the phones? You're on an island, right? What are you going to do with them? But knowing that, moving forward, let's continue. Let's, again, you just need an iPhone. I have the Merge Cube here, but you can print it out. So be sure to print out your own. And then when we finish this, if we finish this, we will put one together for you guys. So let me just put this, my keyboard under here, and then there we go, because we don't need the space over here. We have 3D print of the week coming up, thanks to Ken. Thank you for that. Got some spam, and I'm just going to push everything to the computer so that we can follow along with the bouncing ball. Not really bouncing ball, but there we go. We're going to go into the Merge Cube. Whoops, sort of. And the good thing is that you can pick up where you left off. Well, sort of. MER. Oh, no, it's not Merge Cube. 57. I was like, wait, it's not there. It's 57 degrees north, but you use the Merge Cube. And they're going to go deeper into the Merge Cube because you could actually use it in school. There are every subject available with the Merge Cube. So I'm going to select, well, we'll save that for another time. Here's my cube. I'm going to move our lady over since she's in the way, and somehow move this. All right, and then hopefully, let me just make sure there's audio. Oh, no, the Merge Cube's upside down. It's okay, we can fix that. But we still need audio because this stream will not work. Oh, nice. There we go. Before I continue, though, we still need... I don't want a new game, but I do want my sound. Let me check my headphones. Nothing. Let's check the computer. Settings. Oops, not these settings. That's reflector settings. We go here, system settings, and it's probably there. Let's put this in this window, and then go here, sound, output, multi-output device, which should be from here, which is fine because I should hear it from my speaker, but I don't hear anything. But let's go here. Play something. All right, that's fine. We know our audio is working there, but just not from the Merge Cube. Come on, Merge, you got this. I'm gonna select continue. Chapter 5. No audio. Oh, let's go back here. Even if there's no audio from the oh, I know what's wrong. I know exactly what's wrong. Let's go to Bluetooth and disable Bluetooth. Actually, maybe turn Bluetooth off. Hold on. Not Wi-Fi. Or Bluetooth. There we are. Okay. That should do the trick. And if I go here, you guys can't see, but here I'll share it with you. Possible that Bluetooth is on and that's why it's not connecting, but thankfully we don't need, so now I just have to find the video, like just something with sound in it, or Pandora. Let's try Pandora. And it should play from the computer. Nice. Okay, so now we got our audio. All right. So if you don't get audio and you want to remake this video, just check your Bluetooth settings. As you can see, now we got our merge cube upside down and our video upside down. That's okay. This part's an easy fix. We just do that and like that. See? Except I don't know why. Oh, it's at its brightness. Well, it is an iPhone. That's why we upgraded from the iPhone to our Action 5 camera. Okay. Because the iPhone, whoops, as you know, doesn't really give you the best setting experience. Now we can flip it over. All right, now we should get audio. Continue where we left off. Hopefully someone will chime in. Maybe we'll get Bob. I don't know. But let's see. Chapter 5. The volcano is about to erupt. Sasha and Caleb were split up, each assigned a separate task. Sasha's fixing the boat, and Caleb is on the other part of the island trying to fix the servers. And the reason why they were both assigned different tasks was because Caleb was suffering from hypothermia. So the AI assistant robot, which is, I think it was Walter, whoever his name is, said that Caleb needed to get warmed up, and Sasha was at her peak strength. But little we know and behold that the AI is up to something. All right. I don't hear any audio. Let's see. No. Where is the audio? We need audio. What's that? Well, we don't really care what that is. Let me quit this application and start again. We should be able to get audio from the computer, okay? Let's see. It's a bummer. When it works, and when it don't work, it don't work. We know it works because we tried out Pandora and we got sound. Let's see, let's try it now. So the audio should be coming from the, oh, actually, let's try that. Nice, okay. So the audio is coming out of the computer. Hopefully we don't get a copyright strike. It was only a couple of seconds, which is fine. And now I just have to figure out how to quit that. And let's quit the Merge Cube app. Give it a second life. Hold on one moment. Because shit ain't working. Let's try it again. So the good thing is we have our audio. Remember, this is a live stream. If I was making a video about the Merge Cube, I'd be having to get the glitches out and then recording again. But as you can see, it's not an app issue. Well, it is an app issue. It's not a me issue. It's an app issue. All right, so I got to find the sweet spot to let us in. We got no music. Come on, Merge Cube. I hate that. Continue game. We should be getting music right about now. See? And we got nothing. You know what? Let's reboot the phone. Damn it. I hate when that happens. Remember, it's a live stream. We can't, you know, we know that it did work. It does work. But apparently Merge Cube is not merging. We already missed, okay, there was something with the servers. What is it? You know, we got like a little and we know that Pandora is working on the phone, so Pandora was able to push everything to make it just right for you. Is anybody here? Jeff? No, just to get Jeff Goldblum thing. All right, let's see. Damn, because I'm dying to see what happens. Sometimes it could be the phone needing a reboot. Merge Cube. Sometimes a lot of the Merge Cubes app work one day and then don't work the next, which is a little bit of a bummer. But we want to hear some audio. Mighty Coconut. Okay. And either way, right? We should still get audio. Now we got a blank screen from our Mighty. Here, I'll let you guys see so you can play along. Me stuff. So as you can see, we just launched the Merge Cube app and it crashed. Hopefully it works again, because this was a cool adventure. Damn it. So it is the Merge Cube app. See, game mode's on. And damn it. And Merge Cube's not working. Alright, so we know a little bit of a bummer. Hopefully I don't have to uninstall. Yeah, Merge Cube's not 57 degrees north. Damn it! It was fun while it lasted. My internet? No, I don't think it's an internet issue. It sucks. Big time. Let's quit it again. We like rebooting it. So we know that it was the yeah, Mighty Coconut. Yay! No. Damn it. That sucks. You know, you really can't make that. It was fun while it lasted. At least we have other. Oh, there we go. Yay! It took a while because remember it's based on their servers, right? All right. Now we can connect it to the phone. Oh wow, that's a little glitchy there. Come on, Merge Cube, you got this. See, it's like bugging out. No. Well, at least we know. Let's get it connected to the computer first, and then maybe let it find itself. And then I have to mute it. Let me just lower it. Find the right volume. You're gonna hear an echo. There we go. I'm gonna mute that so that there's no echo. Select Merge Cube. Yay, we're back. Sort of. Alright. Remember, this is live. So any glitches or tweaks that are required are not going to happen unless we do them in real time. Move our data out of the way. Alright, let's get game on. Alright, let's see what we got here. Samsung Me. There we are. I'm going to have to use my headphones. Thankfully we can turn this upside down without the phone. I could hear the audio. I'm gonna have to put some headphones on or just listen with one ear. And so the event. Before I continue, let me put this down. But I want to make sure that the folks, on the Instagram and Facebook feed see what they get when it comes to the streaming format, because we want them to have the full experience too, and just make sure that we are live. Sweet. Instagram, TikTok is caught up, which is fine. Hello, Pius. Welcome to the channel. I'm just going to pause that so that we don't hog up the stream. And there we go. And there I am. I'm going to pause this. If it lets you. I guess with Instagram, it just feeds the stream. You can't, there's no stop or play button. It's just simply live, which is okay if you're streaming. You just want to make sure that audio is off so it doesn't echo. And that is pretty much it. And then the base format that's here for Instagram is here, which is landscape mode, which is below it, which is right there, and each chat or
I spy on my competitor.
oh wow, I don't need that, but I'm gonna make sure audio's off if you want to monitor your YouTube. And then we can click skip, and then there we go. No one's here in this chat, but now we have access to all the chats, and we'll leave it like that, and the adventure continues. All right, let's get on with this. Gosh, the setup process is so tedious. All right, new game. We don't want a new game. We want to continue.
Halfway up the mountain, Caleb was still trying to figure out why Edward had been bleeding when he unplugged the satellite. Before Caleb could finish the thought, the ground underneath his feet buckled, and the wall shook violently.
Oh, nice. Well, we know the volcano's going off, so I don't think we need to figure out what that is. I would say open the door, or what is that? Is anybody here that wants to decide? Whoever's watching gets to choose. 30 seconds on the clock. Alexa, set the timer for 30 seconds. 30 seconds are up. I will choose. You can vote a friend. You can use the cheat sheet, as you saw. There's the Gantt chart of what cause and effect will happen from the choices that you make. But just don't unalive anyone. But open the door, or what is that? You pick. You decide. What is that? 30 seconds on the clock. We got 2 viewers watching, or maybe even more, considering the different platforms we're streaming to. But you guys get to decide. Last time we had Bob. Let me just pull. Alexa, stop. I will decide. All right. I'm going to say, what is that? No. Open the door, because we already know what it is, right?
An earthquake? Caleb thought as he opened the door to find nothing but smoke. He could just barely see the plume of smoke shooting out of the top of the volcano before he began coughing and shut the door. The eruption has started, Wilson informed him. Reconnect the cable and I will call for help while you evacuate.
Okay, what happened to Edward? And there we go. They went all HR PC on us when you ever, like, in your office, we know what it is. It's a volcano erupting, and someone will ask, "What is that?" What do you mean, what is it? We know what it is. But okay, what happened to Edward? Reconnect cable. I would say stick to the job and task at hand, not worry about Edward. Remember, his job is to reconnect the cables so that they could get the satellites going. So what happened to Edward? Or connect the cable. 30 seconds on the clock. Anybody want to choose who's watching? You can decide what happens next to the fate of Caleb and Sasha. As the apocalypse comes, the volcano is about to erupt, but Edward has a split decision choice to make so he doesn't become unalived. Should he reconnect the cable? Or what happened to Edward? I'm going to set the timer for 30 seconds from here. No need to have Alexa. And press start. 29, 28. You can phone a friend and you can check the cheat sheet, but remember, so many different choices to choose from. All right. 20 seconds on the clock. No one's chimed in, but we do have to just, you can say, and if you can't type, don't worry. Just say choice up or down. Just up choice or down choice. Either way, the butterfly effect will happen. 4 seconds on the clock. 3 seconds on the clock. 2, 1. Timer is up. I'm going to say stick to the task at hand and connect the cable.
Caleb tried not to let his imagination run wild. This was no time to argue with a computer. He grabbed the cable and plugged it into port 17. Uplink reestablished, Wilson said. Now, run.
Why was Edward bleeding? I'm not sure. I guess we're bound to find out.
Caleb's curiosity got the better of him. Why was Edward bleeding? He asked. Edward encountered a bear, Wilson said. That's why I told you to stay alert. Caleb had no idea why, but if the bear part was true, he had the sneaking suspicion that Wilson had played a part.
Did you hurt Edward or run? I'm not sure. That's a tricky one. I'm going to say I'd run. Because look at his eyes. He looks panicked, right? Looks like he's like, what's going on? He looks scared. And he has a hunch, so his hunch is somewhat right. So I'm gonna say run. Anybody else want to decide? We'll chime in a little bit later, but I'm gonna select run. But where is he gonna run on that island?
Caleb grabbed a flashlight off the wall as he flung open the door and started racing west in the direction he had come from.
Nice. Look how 3D it is. It's awesome 3D. I'm gonna say continue because there's only one choice.
You said 5 hours! Sasha screamed at Wilson. It hadn't even been 3 yet. Exact eruption times are impossible to predict, and I can't observe seismometer data from your phone. Wilson's neutral tone seemed out of place, considering how much adrenaline was coursing through Sasha's veins. You must evacuate now.
Okay, what are our choices? Wait for Caleb. Save yourself. She's gonna wait for Caleb. I mean, like, it's a friend, or I don't know. Are they brother and sisters, or just
I'm not
friends?
going anywhere without Caleb, Sasha said. She was terrified by the rising plume of ash, but wasn't about to abandon Caleb. The eruption is just beginning. If my models are accurate, the next major event will be a dome collapse and subsequent pyroclastic flow.
All right, is that bad? Pyro what? I guess as things blow up in the volcanic rupture. I guess this one I don't know. Tough choice. I guess why ask, right? No sense in draining energy and asking question. But either way, looks like she's still asking the question and is going to get an answer. Let's see, pyro what?
Sasha had no idea what any of that meant. Imagine a cloud of gas nearly 2,000 degrees, traveling down the mountain at 500 miles an hour, Wilson said.
Sounds fun. Or how long do we have? I'm going to say how long do we have. That's a silly one.
How long do we have? Sasha asked. It could be minutes, hours, or it might already be too late to escape. Pyroclastic flows have been known to travel for miles over water. But the boat isn't ready. Sasha was terrified, but secretly glad that she had an excuse not to leave without Caleb. She had no motor, and the tiny paddles would never get her past the surf. It was time to get creative.
But I thought she fixed the motor. Oh, let's see. Make rowboat. She's already got a boat.
She remembered seeing a couple of brooms back in the building where they had met Wilson. Maybe she could use the handles as oars for a makeshift rowboat? Sasha grabbed her phone and raced for the complex.
Continue. Wow. The volcano's erupting. Look at that. The ash in the air. It's so 3D-ish. Like, I like that. And look, if you put your hand over it, it just keeps it in a story. So when you hold it, let me see if I can block it. You could hold it like that with 2 hands. See? And continue.
Caleb's legs ached from running down the mountain, but at least he was going downhill and had made it quickly out of the smoke. Caleb reached the rock outcropping and paused. He had been so preoccupied with the wolves that he didn't remember which way he had come.
Oh, nice. Oh, wow. Now, this is where it gets tricky. I don't even know where he came from. I wasn't paying attention. Was anybody paying attention? So if he goes north, south, east, or west, I'm going to go with a hunch since the game is 57 degrees north. Why not go north, right? So I don't know what happens here. The only thing I know is what my kids share, but hopefully this will lead us to where we need to go.
Caleb forced his legs to keep moving, but had barely gone 20 feet when he pushed past a pine branch and froze. Blocking his path was a strange bearded man. His clothes were torn and stained red, as if
Oh,
he'd been
wow.
mauled by a bear. Caleb slowly realized that was
That's
exactly
Edward.
what happened. Hello, Edward, Wilson said to the man. Edward looked at the phone in Caleb's hand. What have you done?
Wow. Wonder what would happen if he went the other way.
Sasha burst into the room and grabbed 2 brooms. What are you doing back here? Wilson asked, not from the phone, but from the computer. She had forgotten that there were multiple copies of Wilson. You must leave immediately. Internal pressure is falling and dome collapse is imminent. Sasha looked at the charts and graphs on Wilson's screen, but it was all gibberish. The only thing she recognized was a transfer window that was halfway through copying a large file to a server.
Where's Caleb?
Where's Caleb? Sasha asked. Wilson didn't respond. Where is he? She demanded again. Caleb is dead, Wilson finally replied.
Just putting myself in the other corner so we could see this better. How do you know? That's impossible. I'm not sure. Say, how do you know?
How do you know that? She thought she heard herself ask, although she was too stunned to know for certain. He was killed by the eruption, Wilson said. The satellite is halfway up the mountain.
You don't know that for sure? Or no? I'll say no.
Sasha was in disbelief, but Wilson continued. You must get back to the boat. If you don't leave now, then both of us will die.
Both of us?
What do you mean, both of us? Sasha asked. Just because I'm a machine, do I not also have a right to live? Wilson had a sense of urgency in his voice that Sasha had never heard. With the satellite down, your phone is my only way off this island.
I would say you're lying.
The satellite isn't down, Sasha said, looking at Wilson's transfer window. You're copying something to a server.
I'm going to say stop transfer or go back to the beach. I'm going to say stop transfer.
Sasha grabbed the mouse, but before she could do anything, the screen flashed back to the login window. She tried a few passwords until the system locked her out.
See, either way, she winds up going back to the beach.
Sasha ran for the door. She had no idea what Wilson was up to, but she had bigger problems. Maybe Caleb was alive, maybe he wasn't. But she was certain that if she didn't get that boat fixed, then neither of them would make it off this island.
See, always stick to the task at hand. Don't lose focus.
You have to. Wilson's voice was cut short as Edward snatched the phone out of his hand and chucked it into the trees. Hey! Caleb exclaimed. A huge crashing sound made them both flinch as a huge grizzly bear leaped out of the trees. The bear went straight for the phone, swatting at it ferociously until he finally brought his huge paw down, shattering it against a rock.
I would say... Gosh, that's a tough one. Maybe back away slowly.
Caleb turned to get out of there, but Edward grabbed his arm and held him still, surprisingly strong for the rough shape he was in. The bear finally stopped attacking the phone and sauntered off into the woods. They both breathed a sigh of relief, and Edward collapsed to the ground.
What was that?
What was that? Caleb asked. Phone, Edward croaked. High frequency attracts bears, like a dog whistle. It didn't look like Edward would last much longer. You reconnected the satellite, Edward said. To Caleb, it sounded like an accusation.
Yes, no, maybe. So Caleb isn't sure if he did the right thing. He's not going to be sure of Edward's reaction, but Edward is tapped out. He doesn't have much strength, so that's a tricky one considering... Maybe?
I know you did, Edward said, pointing to another camera setup mounted high in one of the trees. The tiny wireless dish had 4 blue lights that looked like a connection signal. You have to stop him. If Wilson gets off the island. Edward started choking before he could finish the sentence.
So it turns out Wilson, the AI bot, is the bad guy. Wilson wants to rule the world. It's like a bad game of war games. How do I stop him? I would say, how do we stop him?
How do I stop him?
Oh wow, Wilson's watching.
Satellite. Go back. Disconnected. I have to get out of here, Caleb said. We've got a boat. I'll take you to it. No, Edward barked. If he gets off the island, no one will be safe. He'll spread to every computer.
Wow. It's a tough one. Let me just double check something really quick. On our stream and feed. Make sure... Oh yeah, we're public. If I go here. Go here. Yep, we're live. Except, let's go here. Stop that. And then I'll like it too. Edit video. And if it lets us, we will upload a thumbnail so that other people can see what's happening too. Then I go to downloads. There we go. And let's go here. The AI, my version of AI app that allows you to make thumbnails did not crop it, which means this is all dead space right here, so I have to fix it. Hopefully you can ask AI to do it, but it should be by default a download. We'll check it in a sec after the show. And then if I go to tools and crop it, see, that's the actual size so that it shows up in the middle. And then now if I go to upload, there we go. Where did it go? Oh, I have to press cancel and then do it again. And there we go. Then it shows up. It's a little glitch, but as long as you know how to fix it. And then select here, live stream, done, and save. Now we can go back to our show and close that out so that when people see it, let's say if I go to the new tab and go to your channel, they can see like that. Makes it more enticing. Can't do that with Streamlabs. Streamlabs doesn't allow you to do it. You gotta do it manually. Alright, let's see. The volcano will stop him. I'll warn everyone. I'll unplug him. I'll say, who's everyone to warn? Don't waste time doing that. Since he's already there, let's see what happens if I'll unplug him. The volcano won't stop anyone. You gotta get off the island, though.
Unplug his workstation, Caleb reasoned. It's on the way to the beach. He's already on every machine on the island. He'd have to turn off a dozen machines. Edward forced himself to his feet and staggered towards the satellite. But they both knew he'd never make it. Caleb looked up as ash began to fall like snow around them. Was he really willing to give his life to stop a computer program?
Maybe go back to the beach or back to the satellite. That's a tough one. Sasha already left, right? Or Sasha's still in the room. So maybe go back to the satellite since Sasha is there, I believe, or she's in the other room. I'm not
Better
sure.
to die a hero, Caleb thought, as he stood up and raced after Edward, blowing past him and sprinting up the hill. Maybe he could shut it down and still make it back to the boat before Sasha left.
Continue. No choices here.
Back at the boat, Sasha rowed a few times to test her makeshift oars. It wasn't pretty, but it would have to do the trick. You
Broomsticks.
must go now, Wilson insisted.
Oh wow, launch boat. Oh my god, she left Caleb. Why would I? There's no other choice.
Sasha pushed the boat into the water and grabbed the oars. An image of Caleb in the water the night before flashed into her mind. She had already left him once to save her own skin. Could she really live with herself if she did it again?
No, I wouldn't leave him behind. I'd wait. I wonder what happens though if you leave him behind. I'm gonna say wait for Caleb.
Sasha floated for a moment. She was scared of dying, but even worse, she was terrified of having to carry that guilt around with her for the rest of her life.
Nice. Let's see, that's another version.
Thoughts were cut short by an enormous earthquake that shook the trees and caused the water beneath her to turn to foam. She looked up in horror to see another plume of smoke, only this one was shooting down the mountain. Dome collapse, Wilson said. If you stay here, you will die. Wilson's description of a pyroclastic flow had been frightening and technically accurate, but it failed to capture the awesome scale of what Sasha saw hurtling down the mountain towards her. It was like an avalanche, except rather than burying things in snow, it caused them to burst into flames. A chain reaction of explosions shot debris into the air, and it took Sasha a few seconds to realize that what looked like flying twigs were actually 100-foot pine trees.
Wow. Pine trees are going into the air as they're exploding from the strong
A
winds.
mass of orange and black smoke seemed to swallow the valley, the mouth of which Sasha realized was the beach she was sitting on. Less than 4 minutes until it reaches us, Wilson informed her. Caleb was nowhere to be seen, but she felt as if he might run out of the trees at any moment.
I'm gonna say wait 3 minutes. Wow, so many different choices. Now we got 4. Leave now. Wait 2 minutes. Wait 3 minutes. Wait 1 minute. I'm gonna wait 3 minutes.
We'll give him 3 minutes, Sasha said, as she started to count. 1001, 1002. Wilson began to protest and she hit the mute switch on her phone. Hurry up, Caleb, she muttered to herself. Caleb stumbled into the communication facility, coughing uncontrollably and covered in white ash. The screen showed a file transfer in progress at 97%. Caleb didn't even bother to find the right cable. Pieces of plastic flew everywhere as he ripped all of them out of the switch. What are you doing? Wilson's voice asked from the workstation as the transfer froze. Upload failed, flashed on the screen.
Nice. Run away. Wow. Finally, the decision that's going left to make things right.
Caleb smiled as he turned for the door. He could still make it. He hadn't gone 2 steps when the whole building began to shake, similar to when the eruption started, except this time, it didn't stop. It grew more intense as equipment toppled off the shelves. Caleb tried to open the door. Through the window, he noticed a faint orange glow, growing rapidly brighter. It was the last thing he ever saw. Sasha waited
wow.
exactly 3 minutes and 1 second before realizing that Caleb wasn't going to make it. Her makeshift oars creaked under the strain as she forced the boat out to sea. She was facing backwards as she rowed, so she saw every detail as the pyroclastic flow loomed over her like a fiery demon the size of a skyscraper. A few flashes of lightning pulsed around the cloud as it hit the water and shot out over the surface, vaporizing everything in its path. She was too close.
Jump.
Seconds before it hit, Sasha leaped out of the boat and dove as deep as she could. The water around her grew warm and she heard a strange gurgling, which she realized was the sound of the water at the surface boiling. She stayed down as long as she possibly could, tossing against rocks as waves of pressure slammed into her.
Continue. Up, someone's here. You get to decide what happens next. The fate of Caleb and Sasha. We know Wilson's the bad guy now. And Edward.
Sasha finally came up gasping for air and found
Let's see who
only
this is.
smoke and ash. She bumped against a rock and hauled herself onto it, realizing that it was the exact same sea stack that she had anchored the boat to the night before. This time the waves were calm and the boat was gone. Aside from the rock, the only thing that remained the same was the pit
Oh,
in her
nice.
stomach, telling her that Caleb was gone.
The Giggle
Smoke cleared and
Eltis.
the waves carried
Hello,
her.
hello to you too. Welcome to the channel. You can choose the fate of what happens next. So, I don't know what happens next. We get to continue. Epilogue. Oh, wow, interesting. Oh, Caleb became unalived. My kids told me that there's a version where they both survive. So, based on the choices that we made, we unalived both of them, I guess, right? Because no one made it off the island safely. Bummer. So what would you change? What would I have done?
Sasha spent
Oh
the
wait.
next few hours on the rock, but the eruption might as well have been a giant signal flare. The waters around the island were soon filled with boats of onlookers snapping pictures, and even a cruise ship that took a detour to see the volcano, which was still spewing smoke. The boats all kept a safe distance, but soon an adventurous fisherman finally came close enough for Sasha to flag him down. "Looks like you had a rough day," the man said as he hauled her aboard. "What
Oh,
happened?"
nice. Tell the whole story, or I don't want to talk about it. Let me see. Hold on. Open web browser. Hey, I would say welcome. All right, let's see. I'm going to say tell the whole story, right? Or I don't want to talk about it.
Sasha was still shaking, but she told him everything. Wilson, the volcano, the storm that stranded them. Caleb. She choked up when she mentioned his name. "That's some story," the fisherman said, clearly not believing her. Even she had to admit, it sounded crazy. The fisherman handed Sasha his phone. "Looks like your volcano made the front page."
Take the phone.
The front page of the local news site featured the headline, "Volcano shuts down air travel across Alaska." But the thing that caught Sasha's eye was the signal bar at the top of the screen. It was connected. Sasha pulled out her own phone and was surprised to find it was still working. She had no idea how long it had been connected, but there were hundreds of text messages in her inbox.
Oh, wow. Throw phone away or call parents? I don't know. Anybody here want to decide what happens next? Throw phone away or call parents? I'm going to choose throw phone away, but you can decide. 30 seconds on the clock if anyone's here. If the Gigi Lotus wants to decide. 30 seconds starting now. Let me go here and begin. 29.2 can phone a friend. Just don't call your parents. But if your parents are there, you can ask them for permission. But I'm going to say throw phone away. That's sort of cool how it's so 3D-ish. Anyone want to decide? 11 seconds on the clock. No one? Anyone? I'm going to say throw phone away.
Sasha pulled her phone out of its waterproof case, wound up and threw it as hard as she could into the ocean. "What did you do that for?" the fisherman asked. As Sasha's phone sank, a server at a data center in Salt Lake City was transferring a file from a cell phone in Alaska when the signal cut out. The server added an entry to its activity log. Wilson.exe. Transfer failed.
Sweet. The end. Bummer. But where's... Bummer that we missed Caleb. I want to bring Caleb back. I want to see the version where they both live. I'm like, damn it. Alright, narrator, Robert Kraft. I like the narrator, Robert Kraft. Love his voice. And lead artist. Music is great, too. The music is okay. I mean, the music is great, but I don't like the fact where the music sort of overrides the narrator's voice in some areas. They could have toned it down where you get a combination of both. But, you know, it is what it is. But everything, in all, is just phenomenal. And the graphics, the storytelling, the different scenarios. But I want to go back and try a version where they both live. So that would be making opposite choices to what we did before. Merge virtual reality. It's so cool. Again, if you're in school and you're a kid watching this, they have other subjects you can experience with the Merge Cube. Math, science, I think social studies, physics, and other things like that. And I'll get into that a little bit later. No, we're going to start game. Try again. See if we can save yourself. Chapter 1.
"Rock!" Sasha yelled from the front of the small boat. From the tiller, Caleb squinted against the stinging rain as he tried to decipher the abstract shapes floating past them in the darkness. A sudden flash of lightning revealed a huge stone column jutting out of the rough sea directly ahead.
I'll turn the boat.
Caleb pulled the tiller to avoid a collision, steering them towards what he hoped was the main channel. Alaska's inside passage was a labyrinth of islands, and he honestly had no idea where they were. A sudden jolt knocked them both off their feet. The motor screamed in protest as the propeller caught against a boulder beneath the waterline, and the boat lurched to a stop.
I'm going to say cut the engine or back up. I'd say cut the engine and ride it out, because they have a little rowboat, and, you know, like I shared before, that it's really hard riding in a storm in a boat if you've ever been in one, unless you have like a boat, real boat. Cut the engine and just let it ride.
Plunging them into an eerie silence. The boat bobbed awkwardly as the back remained hung up on the rocks. Listen, Sasha told him. It took a moment for Caleb to realize what she was hearing. The distinct sound of waves crashing against rocks. It was coming from all around them. A large swell washed under them, lifting the boat as it passed. It wasn't enough to dislodge them, but the boat came down hard with a hollow crunch that surely cracked the fiberglass hull. Another flash of lightning revealed an approaching wave at least twice as large and cresting just off their bow.
I'm going to say that's a tough one. Push off or ride out. I mean, the currents are going to take them wherever they need to go. Let's see what happens if they... Well, let's see ride out. Or I'm going to push off. I think we rode it out the last
Caleb stuck his
time.
foot in the water and pushed off the rock. The boat
Too bad you
broke
can't go
free,
back space.
but so did Caleb. As he slipped, the waves slammed into him, sending him tumbling across the back of the boat and over the railing.
Okay.
Any pain that Caleb felt paled in comparison to the sudden immersion in icy water. By Alaskan standards, 57 degrees was actually quite warm, but still enough to send an unaccustomed body into shock. Caleb's head rang as he came up, gasping for air. He had just enough mental faculty left to see that the wave had carried him 20 yards from the boat, which was now bobbing freely but half submerged. The rocky shore was at least 5 times further, but it was in the direction of the current.
Swim for shore.
Caleb forced his trembling limbs in the direction of the shore, but as he got close, he could tell that the waves crashing against the rocks were much larger and more violent than he had thought. He felt himself dropping down and touched bottom, but the bigger the trough, the bigger the swell. He turned just in time to see the wave come down on top of him, slamming him underwater, and everything went black.
So we'll press continue. So we know later on what Caleb shouldn't do. I guess we had him go north because I thought it was, since it was 57 degrees north, we send him north. Maybe we'll send them west and keep him out of the cabin and run for shore so that he can meet up with Sasha and they can leave together. I hope.
Back in the boat, Sasha managed to regain her balance on the slippery deck, which was now half submerged as the boat sank. She tied off a line and threw it in Caleb's direction, but it wasn't nearly long enough, and Sasha could see that Caleb wasn't moving.
I'm going to say save Caleb, right? Because the last time we said save the boat, but let's save Caleb.
Without hesitation, Sasha dove
Oh, wow.
into the water.
They really have her
Just
jump in.
but the adrenaline and the conscious decision to
So
jump
cool,
in
3D
helped soften
graphics.
the effects that Caleb had experienced.
I like
As the
that.
waves helped carry her towards him, she felt a sinking feeling in her gut as she saw that Caleb was indeed unconscious. She grabbed him by the life jacket and held on for dear life as a wave came down on top of them.
Okay, swim for shore. There's only one option there, so...
Sasha tumbled
Oh,
over the
nice.
seabed, but somehow managed to keep hold of Caleb. When she came up, it was shallow enough to stand, and she realized that they were on a sandbar, 50 yards from the rocky shoreline. There was no way to get there through the gauntlet of waves, and even if she could, the rocks offered no protection from the onslaught of the surf. She dragged Caleb to the closest sea stack, and with her last ounce of strength, hoisted him up to a ledge on the leeward side of the rock. Caleb's skin was cold, but she could feel a pulse and shallow breathing.
Nice, she
Sasha
saved
put her
them.
jacket over them both and tried to find a comfortable spot on the sharp rocks.
Because there's a version
She drifted into a restless
where she finds Caleb laying on the beach. And in this version, oh wow, hopefully in this version they don't become unalive, because in the other version, she makes it off the island, makes it to the island with the boat, and then Caleb's the only one that has hypothermia. So what happens if they both get hypothermia? I know there's a version where they both become unalive in the beginning. Hopefully this one isn't it. Chapter 2. Nice. Whichever what's going to happen. Most likely in Chapter 2, in the first version that we played, they had to build a fire. But I don't know what happens now.
Sasha's eyes opened reluctantly. The storm had passed.
She looks tired.
Just bright enough to see her surroundings in the early morning mist. Probably 3 a.m., she guessed. In August, the Alaskan sun had the annoying habit of setting so late and rising so early that there were only a couple of hours of true darkness. She and Caleb had been on the family vacation long enough that the novelty had worn off. "Caleb," she said aloud, as the previous night's events came flooding back to her. The sudden noise was enough to rouse Caleb, who woke with a start. "Ow!" Caleb groaned as he settled back against the rock. "Can you make it to shore?" asked Sasha, indicating a narrow strip of sand where the remains of their boat had washed up. Caleb nodded and forced himself off the ledge.
Swim for shore. They're going to have to go to the shore no matter what. They can't stay there. It's not so far, though. You can see from the background over here where the where it actually is. So it's not. But again, when you're in hypothermia, and so everything, and haven't eaten, fighting the currents.
The water was even colder this time, and they were both shivering uncontrollably.
And they're in Alaska where it's cold.
Sasha trudged over to the boat and pulled their phone.
57 degrees.
Both of them still worked, but couldn't find a signal. Caleb's dad, Sasha's uncle, would be out looking for them, but that could take days with so many islands to search.
Search for help or inspect boat. Well, we know the boat's shot, right? Either way, if they inspect boat, they're probably going to wind up searching for help. I don't remember what we did for the last time because we never had both of them conscious when they made it to the island in the beginning. The other version, only one was conscious. So let's do... build a fire. There we go. Wow, I didn't even see that option. I'll definitely build a fire because they're both cold.
Sasha gathered some fallen branches from the tree line. They were soaking wet, but some gasoline from the boat helped get them burning. The smoke was thick, which Sasha hoped might attract anyone out looking for them. After 30 minutes by the fire, Sasha was warm and dry, but Caleb's skin was pale and still shivered uncontrollably.
Little survivor hack,
Hypothermia,
right?
observed
Take
Sasha.
a rag, dip it in the engine that has gasoline in it, and start a fire. Interesting. I'm going to say search for help.
The beach was flanked by steep cliffs, so they made their way up to the tree line, which rose more gradually in each direction.
This one only gives us an option to continue.
"What's that?" asked Caleb, pointing at
They're
one of the
being
boats.
watched.
Halfway up the trunk, a
It's
small
Wilson.
camera was attached to what looked like a tiny satellite dish. Even though it was a sign of civilization, something about the sudden feeling of being watched gave Sasha the creeps.
We know wave to camera. They're already being watched. Look, the audio record signals there. Not audio, but video. I'm going to go east. Either way, they wind up probably at the
They followed
cabin,
tree
right?
line as it rose to the top of a steep cliff. From higher up, they could see the shoreline arc around the base of a small mountain just tall enough to be covered with a dusting of snow. Other than a few distant islands and a coastline at least 20 miles away, it was ocean as far as the eye could see.
Where are we? I don't recognize anything. It's kind of both the same. Well, they don't know where they are. They've got no... Well, maybe the phones will work. Hold on.
"Where are we?" Sasha asked. Caleb shrugged, not wanting to admit that he had been lost even before the storm hit. The two cousins had taken the boat out the previous afternoon in an attempt to stave off the boredom of the family trip. Neither of them had realized how disorienting the chain of islands could be, and the squall had come out of nowhere. "The storm must have pushed us to one of the outer islands," Caleb offered, trying to convince himself of his own innocence.
Explore. I would say explore. Let's check. Oh, yeah, check the phone. And I remember that part because that'll give the GPS will kick in.
Sasha pulled out her phone. Even without a signal, the GPS worked, but the map required a connection to download details. The blue dot just showed that they were in the middle of the ocean off the southeast coast of Alaska. Not even the large populated islands appeared on the default map.
I'm going to say explore inland. Because we want to see what happens with the different scenario where we don't make
Maybe we can
the
get a
same
signal
choice
from
as we
mountain,
did.
Sasha urged. But Caleb eyed the peak skeptically. It was a couple of miles through dense forest, and he didn't look like he was in any shape for a trek. Just wait here, Sasha said, ducking under a branch. She had never hiked.
Because we want to get to the version where they both live.
Before the thick underbrush forced her to turn around. As soon as she did, the sight of another security camera made her jump. She caught her breath and hurried back to Caleb.
I'd say tell Caleb, it's
It
fine.
was too dense, Sasha said, but I found another camera. Hopefully someone is watching, Caleb mulled. Sasha nodded, but was unable to shake the creepy feeling the cameras gave her. Why was someone in the middle of nowhere so concerned?
Kind of reminds me of Myst. You ever play
Caleb must
Myst?
have picked up on her unease.
They have to get off the
It's not
island.
just for wildlife, he said. This is all national park. Sasha hoped he was right.
So we only got one option, which is to keep exploring.
They were able to follow the edge of the cliff a good ways further before it abruptly fell off into a ravine. The path forward looked treacherous, but a metallic glint caught Sasha's eye. She pushed aside some underbrush to reveal a large outdoor electrical box secured with a padlock. Caleb picked up a rock and tested its weight in his hand. "Are you sure that's a good idea?" Sasha asked.
I'd say break the padlock. Or don't break the padlock.
Caleb brought the rock down hard, and the padlock snapped open. Some of it looked like standard networking gear, but several pieces were custom black boxes with no manufacturer and cryptic homemade labels like SE_1421. That's some serious gear for watching wildlife, Sasha mused. Caleb closed the door and hung the broken lock back in place, but the large gash on the metal case was impossible to hide.
Back to the beach. Wow.
By the time they got back to the beach, Caleb was stumbling and the fire had almost died out. Sasha tossed a few more branches on to get it going again. She had hoped that the smoke would attract help, but if they were on the outside of the passage, it would be the last place a search party would look. In the state Caleb was in, they couldn't wait that long.
I would say inspect the boat.
The boat had landed on its side and the motor was flooded with water after being submerged. But the real problem was the hull. It had several cracks in the fiberglass where the boat had hit the rocks. It wasn't going anywhere without a lot of work.
Keep exploring.
They followed the coast in the other direction for about a quarter mile when Caleb's phone dinged. One new network found. Station 57 had no password and no internet access, but it was close enough for them to pick up the Wi-Fi signal. "Go that way and call out the signal strength," Caleb told her. "We can triangulate the position."
Either way, they both wind up together, but I'm going to choose triangulate. I just need to do something with my phone. There we are. I'd say triangulate, let them work as a team, and hopefully they get their shit together. I wonder what happens if they stay together, though. Because we didn't try that. I said triangulate the first time. Let's say stay together.
"No way," Sasha said. This place gave Sasha the creeps, and she had seen too many horror films to let Caleb out of her sight. The idea that someone else was out here only made it worse.
Follow the signal.
It took a lot longer, but after a half hour stumbling through the woods in random directions, they found the source of the Wi-Fi signal. A small cluster of buildings in the center of a clearing.
Search buildings.
Hello? Caleb called out as they searched the buildings. There were no signs of life, but what sounded like a distant voice was just audible over the sound of the wind. As they approached
We know
the
they
large
find
space,
Wilson. Wilson's up to no good. He wants to rule the world, destroy the world, which makes no sense because
they both froze in their tracks. Who's there? Sasha shouted.
if Wilson destroys the world,
My name.
he's left all alone, king of the wasteland.
There was something odd about his voice, too measured and formal.
But it's a cool adventure,
Who knew their names.
and you get to choose and decide the fate of
Wilson
everyone.
said.
I would say let's go inside. Yeah, I think. What happens if they get out of there, right? Either way, they need to go back in there to get off the island to get the ores, right?
Sasha followed
The broomsticks.
as Caleb walked up to the building. She took a deep breath and steeled her courage as he pushed open the door.
Continue. Chapter 3. We know there are 6
It took a
chapters,
few seconds for their eyes to adjust to the relative
so
darkness of the
we'll
skull.
speed it up a little bit.
Well,
There's no fast forward
Station
button though.
57, Wilson said, but the room was completely empty. I'm over here, he added. The computer in the corner. Caleb shook the mouse to wake up the screen, but wasn't surprised to find a sparse desktop. He could tell now that the odd sound of Wilson's voice was because he wasn't real. Caleb began to type his question, but Wilson interrupted. It's easier to use your voice. My speech recognition is very accurate and faster than typing. It also allows me to collect additional information from your tone and inflection. You're an AI? Sasha asked. Yes, I am Wilson 2.4, an artificial intelligence program created by Edward Warren. Would you like more information on my specifications?
Wilson! Remember Tom Hanks in Castaway? Wilson!
The screen was suddenly filled with text as dozens of README files opened on top of each other. They were all licenses for open source projects. Most of it was gibberish to them, but a machine learning package caught Caleb's eye. You're self-taught? He asked. Yes, Wilson responded. Outside of core functionality, I've been given the freedom to absorb information from a variety of sources and even modify my own architecture. Caleb had learned about this from his dad, but looked to Sasha to see if she was getting all
Yeah, I got it. We know what machine, and they probably know too. These kids, they probably learn about AI in school. Yeah, I got it.
Sasha didn't have the energy to get into a lengthy discussion with a computer program. You said you could get us off the island? Wilson paused slightly longer than a human would. Yes, you must leave before the eruption. Current estimates say it will begin in approximately 5 hours.
Eruption? The volcano!
They both exclaimed. The island is volcanic. Edward left 3 days ago to observe from a safe distance, while I monitor the equipment. That's why he created me.
So Edward's out on the island somewhere too. Edward's a good guy.
Property of USGS.
Which is kind of wild because AI sort of gained consciousness. It's everything we fear today with what will happen with AI. AI gained consciousness and not wanting to take over and rule the world, whereas Wilson, its creator, has no control, right? Well, creator of himself, but Edward's on the other side of the island. Call for help. How do you know when it will happen? Another way off the island. I would say another way off the island. We can always... Huh, that's weird. I guess it has to be
Is there
closer
another way
up.
off the island? Asked Caleb. The island is accessible by boat, Wilson replied. Yours is the only one. It is too badly damaged to reach the mainland, but it could carry you to a safe distance until help arrives. Your best chance of survival is for Sasha to fix the boat while Caleb repairs my satellite connection. which was
Interesting.
damaged in the storm last night. Then I can send for someone to rescue.
Yeah, I want to know why Sasha, because before they gave him the same roles and said that Caleb had hypothermia, but I want to know why. What's their excuse this time?
Why don't I go to the satellite? Sasha asked. Caleb has hypothermia, Wilson responded.
Well, wouldn't
The
they
ship has a
both?
communications
They were
facility.
both in the water.
but physical
That's
activity
alright,
will
though.
help increase his core temperature.
Oh, that's right. He's
Require
lying.
high
Wilson's
motor
lying.
speeds, which
Okay,
are
got it.
affected by hypothermia.
Yeah, got it. Wilson's lying. How do you know about the boat? We know he knows about the boat from the cameras. How do you know when it will happen? I would say let's go.
Where's the satellite?
Let's go. Get moving, people.
About halfway up the mountain, replied Wilson. I can help you both, but you'll need to copy me to your phone.
Sometimes all these decisions take you on different side quests, but eventually bring you to the task at hand.
Wilson 2.4 is from an unknown developer. Sasha immediately hit the trust button and Wilson's voice came from her tiny speaker.
Wilson
Hello,
2.4.
from Sasha's phone. Are you there, Caleb?
I would say let's trust for now.
Trust. And Wilson's voice called out, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Because we want to get it off the island.
Once you are out of range of the Wi-Fi.
Oh, we should have said don't trust. Well, either way, we know we have to ditch the phones. And eventually they meet up with Edward.
About the island and satellite manual, so I should be able to handle anything that comes up. All right, Sasha said. Let's go.
Continue. Chapter 4.
Caleb climbed to the top of a rocky hill and held up his phone so Wilson could see out of the camera. The satellite is on that ridge, Wilson said, circling a point on the mountain about 3 miles inland. It was at least an hour hike on a straight trail, let alone through the thick underbrush. Head north, but stay alert. Why? Asked Caleb. Bears,
North.
Wilson replied. You have a strange sense of humor, Caleb said as he followed Wilson's directions. I will take that as a compliment. Humor is one of the most difficult things for an AI to do. I get the feeling you don't find me very entertaining, though.
End conversation.
Shouldn't you be in low power mode? Caleb asked. Okay, replied Wilson. Just keep going north. I'll check back in periodically. By the time Sasha returned to the beach, the fog had dispersed, and the sun was finally starting to punch through the blanket of clouds. Sasha had dragged the boat far enough up the sand to see that the motor had been submerged overnight. But the real problem was the hull. It had several small cracks in the fiberglass where the boat had struck the rocks. It wasn't going anywhere without a lot of work.
I want to say try to fix the hull, because we know when she tries to fix the motor, it opens up and there's like seaweed and sand in there.
A few screwdrivers and a roll of duct tape that was almost empty. Sasha looked around the beach for anything that might be useful, but found nothing but rocks and pine trees.
I would say fix the hull with duct tape. Nah, fix the hull with pine sap. Pine sap will work well. Duct tape's not going to
Sasha
work.
ran into the woods and found a trunk that was covered in sap. where
But
a
we should
branch-
try duct tape next time.
It had turned into hard resin, but she was able to hammer off chunks and place them in the toolbox. It didn't take long to get the fire going again, and she placed the toolbox with the resin on top of the flames.
Nice.
A few miles inland, the intense hike had not only stopped Caleb from shivering, he was actually starting to sweat.
Nice.
Which way now? Caleb
Now he's
came to a rock
getting
outcrop
free from that
and his hat.
hypothermia.
East, Wilson said.
Oh,
Caleb
so
had
Wilson
gone
told him to go
10 steps
east.
when a howl suddenly filled the air. You said watch out for bears, Caleb hissed. We also have wolves, Wilson replied calmly.
I'd say keep going.
If we get out of this alive, I'm going to delete you so fast, Caleb said as he slowly pushed onward. Once we fix the satellite, then you can do as you wish, Wilson replied. Caleb saw movement out of the corner of his eye and spun around. It was a mountain goat, who looked just as terrified as Caleb. For a brief moment, they studied each other, trying to guess which one the wolves were after.
I would say stand still, right? Because we know what
Caleb
happens
stood
on
his
this part.
ground.
Might
The
just want to
goat
get us
took
back
off
to
through
where
the
we were,
forest.
where
Seconds
he
later, the
doesn't
branches
become
of the
unalive.
goat shook, and he caught a glimpse of silver fur as the wolves raced past him after the mountain goat. Everything went quiet, and Caleb breathed a sigh of relief. Stay alert, Wilson reminded him. We also have bears on the island. Back at the boat, Sasha used a cloth to apply the hot pine sap to the hull. and
Nice,
stood
so
back
she's going to
to
fix the
admire
boat. So we know the boat will float
It was
with this
amazing how well
method.
this stuff worked. She had managed to repair all of the cracks, and the first few had already dried hard enough that she was confident it would hold. How long until Caleb gets back? Sasha asked Wilson. It is difficult to estimate.
Nice graphics,
particularly in his condition. You need
very
to focus
3D
on
like.
yourself. That is the best way to increase your odds of survival. Sasha tried not to let Wilson's words get to her, but she knew he was right. She had been nervous about going on the boat with Caleb. If she had listened to her gut, she might not be in this mess. Then again, Caleb probably wouldn't have survived the night.
He'll be fine. Let's end conversation.
Let's just find a way to get out of here, Sasha said, turning her attention back to the...
Try to fix the motor. Let's ask Wilson what to do next. Hopefully Wilson doesn't tell her to do what we didn't want to do, but
Sasha
probably.
held the phone up to show Wilson the damage. "I'm sorry," he said. "Structural analysis is very complex. Even with unlimited processing power, it would be impossible to tell you the best course of action based on images alone."
Then what can you tell me? Why did I bring you?
"Then what can you do?" Sasha asked. "I still have access to data about the island, particularly seismic and topographical. I can also help you navigate the nearby waterways and coordinate a rescue plan once Caleb fixes the satellite."
Whoops. Try to fix the motor. I'll see eventually she has
Sasha
to
tried
try and
start
fix the motor.
But no matter how hard she tugged on the pull cord, it wouldn't turn over. She pulled off the plastic cover and saw that the inside was filled with sand and seaweed. Maybe if she cleaned it out, she could get it started.
See, eventually, sometimes when you try to avoid certain tasks, you wind up doing them anyway, but just different scenarios of what lead you there.
She would have to take the whole thing apart to clean it. She was about to give up when an idea struck her. "Wilson,
Okay,
can you
not
take
bad.
a picture every time I disconnect something?"
Let's see.
"Of course," Wilson said as Sasha began the teardown.
Yeah, I take a picture too. I do that when I take something apart. Take a picture so I can remember how to put it back.
Caleb was exhausted by the time he reached the communication facility, a small metal shed surrounding the base of a massive satellite dish at least 20 feet across. The top of the shed was littered with several smaller dishes, like he had seen on the cameras at the beach. At quick glance, there didn't seem to be...
Oh wow, so many options. Go inside. What's wrong with it? Why is it so big? What are the small dishes? Really? It's a satellite. I'm going to say go inside.
The door was unlocked. Inside were racks of equipment and a single workstation. Caleb found the diagnostics program. Everything checked out okay, except for a single error. Uplink disconnected. "There's the problem," Wilson said, indicating a single Ethernet cable that had unplugged from a switch. "Just reconnect that to port 17.
That wasn't caused by the storm. Let's plug it. Let's plug it in, right? Actually, I want to see this.
"I thought you said it was damaged in the storm," Caleb said. "I suppose one of the pre-eruption earthquakes could have shaken
We know
loose,"
Wilson is
ordered.
the bad guy.
Caleb took a closer look.
But we need to save Caleb so he doesn't become unalive. So we have to make a different decision than we did the last time.
Dishes was the strange red color. Caleb held it up to the light. It was covered in
Whose blood is that? It's Edward's.
"Whose blood is that?" Caleb demanded. "That is irrelevant. Just plug the cable into port 17. "Whose blood?" Caleb shouted again. "Edward's," Wilson replied coldly.
It's really cool. Imagine the decisions were like on different windows, different options in the story box. That would be cool. I'd like that.
Sasha replaced the plastic cover of the motor. "Here goes nothing," she muttered to herself, and grabbed the pull cord. This time, at least the cord moved, but no matter how hard she pulled, the motor refused to turn over. Sasha cursed herself for spending so much time fiddling with it.
Continue.
"I think we should..." Sasha's thought was interrupted by a sudden blast that knocked her off her feet and sent her tumbling across the ground. Her ears rang, and she could feel her heart racing. "What was that?" Before Wilson could respond, Sasha knew the answer. A massive cloud of smoke was rising from the mountain. The volcano was erupting.
Continue. Sweet. Chapter 5. 2 more chapters left. Will we do it? The volcano's about to erupt. Look, cool graphics, though. I think
Halfway
chapter
up
6
the
is
mountain,
epilogue.
Caleb was still trying to figure out why Edward had been bleeding when he unplugged the satellite. Before Caleb could finish the thought, the ground underneath his feet buckled, and the walls shook violently.
I'd say open the door. We know what it is, right?
An earthquake? Caleb thought.
Really?
As he opened the door, to find
I don't
nothing
know.
but smoke. He could just barely see the plume of smoke shooting out of the top
Wow,
of the
look
volcano
at
before he
3D.
began coughing and shut the door. "The eruption has started," Wilson informed him. Reconnect the cable, and I will call for help while you evacuate.
I'm gonna say what happened to Edward.
What happened to Edward? Demanded Caleb. Under the circumstances, Caleb was reluctant to do anything Wilson said. Edward evacuated to a nearby island.
He's
Wilson
lying
reiterated.
like a rug. Why is he bleeding? Reconnect the cable. I want to know why is he.
bleeding? Caleb shouted. Edward encountered a bear, Wilson said.
Hmm.
That's why
Oh,
he
Wilson
stayed.
controls the bears with the
Caleb had no
frequency.
idea why, but if the bear part was true, he had the sneaking suspicion that Wilson had played a part. Please reconnect the cable, Wilson reiterated.
Oh, did you hurt Edward?
The question seemed a bit ridiculous, but he asked anyways. Did you hurt Edward? No, Wilson replied.
He did with the frequency on the phone. He changed it like a dog
Did you
whistle.
have anything to do with the bear? Insisted Caleb. A long pause. Yes. This is your last chance. Reconnect the cable so I can call for your rescue.
I'm gonna say run because the last time we reconnected it, we left Caleb behind and probably died of smoke inhalation. I guess we can't say that. We have to say unalive.
Caleb
Run.
grabbed the flashlight off the wall as he
Sweet.
opened the
We
door
might
and
have
started
saved Caleb.
racing west in the direction he had come from. This is illogical.
West,
Wilson
okay.
protested. Don't make the same mistake that Edward did. The words sent a chill down Caleb's spine, but he kept running.
Continue.
You said 5 hours, Sasha screamed at Wilson. It hadn't even been 3 yet. Exact eruption times are impossible to predict, and I can't observe seismometer data from your phone. Wilson's neutral tone seemed out of place, considering how much adrenaline was coursing through Sasha's veins. You must evacuate now.
I'm gonna say, oh, there's only one option. Wait for Caleb.
I'm not going anywhere without Caleb, Sasha said. She was terrified by the rising plume of ash.
Save yourself.
The eruption is just beginning. If my models are accurate, the next major event will be a dome collapse and subsequent pyroclastic flow.
I'm saying, is that bad?
Sasha had no idea what any of that meant. Imagine a cloud of gas nearly 2,000 degrees traveling down the mountain at 500 miles an hour, Wilson said.
Sounds fun. How long do we
How
have?
long do we have? Sasha asked. It could be minutes, hours, or it might already be too late to escape. Pyroclastic flows have been known to travel for miles over water. But the boat isn't ready. Sasha was terrified, but secretly glad that she had an excuse not to leave.
So
without
we gotta get rid of
She
the
had no
phones
oars, and the tiny paddles
so
would
that,
never get her past the surf.
Wilson
It was time
can't do
to get
anything.
creative.
So she's gonna have to make a row.
She remembered seeing a couple of brooms back in the building where they had met Wilson. Maybe she could use the handles as oars for a makeshift rowboat? Sasha grabbed her phone and raced for the complex.
Continue. Save yourself.
Caleb's legs ached from running down the mountain, but at least he was going downhill and had made it quickly out of the smoke. Caleb reached the rock outcropping and paused. He had been so preoccupied with the wolves that he didn't remember which way he had
All right, he came from west, right? Yep. Now, see? Now this might change things.
Caleb forced his legs to keep moving, but had
The
barely
bear.
gone 20 feet when he
Oh, but either way, I guess he runs into the bear.
to find a huge grizzly bear blocking his path.
Wow.
Caleb froze, but it was already staring straight at Caleb and growled.
Oh no, he headed west, which means he came from east. Damn it. I messed up. All right.
Sasha burst into the room and found the brooms. What are you doing back here? Wilson asked. Not from the phone, but from the computer. Sasha jumped. She had forgotten that there were multiple copies of Wilson.
Yeah, because Wilson told him to go west, which means that he
Internal
probably
pressure is
went,
falling and dome collapse is imminent.
came from the
Sasha looked at
east.
the charts and graphs on Wilson's screen, but it was all gibberish.
Where's Caleb?
Where's Caleb? Sasha asked. Wilson didn't respond. Where is he? She demanded again. Caleb is dead, Wilson finally replied.
I'd say that's impossible.
That's impossible, she thought she heard herself say, although she was too stunned to know for certain. He was killed by the eruption, Wilson said. The satellite is halfway up the mountain.
No.
Sasha was in disbelief, but Wilson continued. You must get back to the boat. If you don't leave now, then both of us will die.
Both of us?
What do you mean, both of us? Sasha asked. Just because I'm a machine Do I not also have a right to live? Wilson had a sense of urgency in his voice that Sasha had never heard. With the
I'd say
satellite down,
save.
the phone is my only way off this island.
I'd say you're lying.
Sasha didn't know if it was just the shock or something about Wilson's story that genuinely didn't make sense. You're lying, she said as she headed for the door. Somehow she knew that Caleb would be back. And
Nice.
when he did, she better have the boat ready.
Okay.
The
Sweet.
grizzly snarled at Caleb. He knew that the best defense against a bear was to play dead. However, the classic play dead scenario didn't factor in the possibility of imminent death by volcano, let alone the off chance that the bear might be controlled by a demented computer. Return to the satellite, Wilson threatened as the bear stood up on its hind legs.
Okay, run away. Throw the phone at the bear, because we know the phones are going to cause... You need to get rid of the phone.
Caleb chucked the phone, and to
Okay.
his surprise, the bear leaped after it and swatted at it ferociously. The bear brought his huge paw down and shattered the phone against a rock. Ever so faintly, Caleb felt a sudden clarity in his ears. He hadn't even noticed the high pitch that the phone had been emitting like a dog whistle. But now that it was gone, he was certain that that's what had been driving the
I
bear
would
crazy.
say... Back slowly.
Somewhere deep down, Caleb knew that caution was the best course of action. But he had never been attacked by a grizzly before. He turned and ran for his
One
life.
second, I think I hear
It
somebody.
wasn't until he finally tripped over a tree root and laid breathlessly on the ground for a few moments that he realized the bear wasn't following. He stood up and tried to get his bearings, but realized it didn't really matter. The cloud of ash now filled the sky in every direction but one. All he could do was head for the sliver of blue sky and hope for the best. Back at the boat, Sasha rowed a few times to test her makeshift oars. It wasn't pretty, but it would have to do the trick. You must go now, Wilson insisted. Sasha pushed the boat into the water so she could be
See
ready
what
the moment
happens.
Caleb hit the beach. The memory of diving into the water after Caleb the night before flashed into her mind. She had almost died once, saving him. How much was she willing to risk?
Wait for Caleb.
Sasha floated for a moment. She was scared of dying, but even worse, she was terrified of having to carry that guilt around with her for the rest of her life.
Continue.
Sasha's thoughts were cut short by an enormous earthquake that shook the trees and caused the water beneath her to turn to foam. She looked up in horror to see another plume of smoke. Only this one
Sweet.
shone
And remember, we got rid of the phone. I think we were supposed to get rid of the phones earlier.
Here, you will die. Wilson's description of a pyroclastic flow had been frightening and technically accurate, but it failed to capture the awesome
Yeah, I
scale
think we have to
Sasha
ditch the
saw
phones
rolling down the mountain towards
sooner
the
rather
target
than later.
Except rather than burying things in snow, it caused them to burst into flames. A chain reaction of explosions shot debris into the air, and it took Sasha a few seconds to realize that what looked like flying twigs were actually 100-foot pine trees. A mass of orange and black smoke seemed to swallow the valley, the mouth of which Sasha realized was the beach she was sitting on. Less than 4 minutes until it reaches us, Wilson informed her. Caleb was nowhere to be seen, but she felt as if he might run out of the trees at any moment.
Wait, 3 minutes.
We'll give him 3 minutes, Sasha said, as she started to count.
I think we have to ditch the phones
1001,
sooner
1002.
rather than later. A little bit of a
Wilson
bummer.
tried to protest, and she hit the mute switch on her phone. Hurry up, Caleb, she muttered to herself. Caleb paused to
Oh.
catch his breath outside the building where they
Nice, he made it out.
He
Okay.
considered going inside and ripping Wilson's plug out of the wall, but the thought was interrupted when the earth beneath Caleb's feet began to shake.
Oh, nice. We didn't see that part.
If anything, it became more intense. He broke into a run. The beach was through the trees straight ahead, just a few hundred yards further.
Nice.
Caleb ran onto the beach
He made it.
and felt his stomach sink.
See, get rid of the phone.
Was
So we
gone.
threw the phone at the bear.
Sasha! He screamed. Caleb! He heard a voice shout back. She was 100 yards out, just visible over the waves. Sasha turned the boat around as Caleb swam out to her. Cutting it a little close, don't you think? Sasha said as she hauled him into the boat. As they rowed away from the
Nice.
tree,
They made it off.
finally able to see
There's one
Wilson.
version where Sasha becomes unalive too.
As he grabbed a paddle to help Sasha out. The pyroclastic flow loomed over
Pyroclastic
like a fiery demon
blast.
inside the skyscraper. A few flashes of lightning pulsed around the clouds,
Sweet.
hit the water, and shot out over the surface. vaporizing everything in its path. They were too
Jump.
close.
So either way, they
Seconds
both make
before
it.
hit, Sasha grabbed Caleb
Nice.
and leaped out of the boat. She felt the water around her grow warm and heard a strange gurgling, which she realized was the sound of water oiling at the surface. They stayed down as long as they possibly could, tossing against rocks as waves of pressure slammed into them. They finally came up
Oh,
gasping
nice.
for air and found only smoke and ash. Sasha bumped against a rock and
They
called
both
Caleb,
live.
realizing that it was the exact same sea stack that she and Caleb had spent the night on just hours ago. It was all too familiar. The ledge, the pain, the feeling of
That's
exhaustion.
so cool.
As the smoke cleared and the waves carried away the ash, they both collapsed from exhaustion.
They did it. They both made it off. Sweet.
Sasha and Caleb spent the next few
So if we
hours
went
on
back
top.
to the cabin,
The
that's the
eruption
thing.
might as well have been a giant signal flare. The waters around the island were soon filled with boats of onlookers snapping pictures, and even a cruise ship that took a detour to see the volcano, which was still spewing smoke. The boats all kept a safe distance, but soon an adventurous fisherman finally came close enough for Sasha to flag him down. "Looks like you had a rough day," the man said as he hauled them aboard. "What happened?"
Let's tell the story. Oh no, we should tell the story. I don't want to talk about it.
While they were awaiting rescue,
'Cause
they
we chose
told
the
each
other one
everything
before.
that happened, and decided it sounded
Either way, they
too
wind up
crazy for
telling him.
anyone but them to believe. Besides, neither of them were quite ready to relive the whole story. The fisherman handed Sasha his phone. "Looks like your volcano made the front page."
Take the phone. There's no option to throw the phone in the water.
The front page of the local news site featured the headline, "Volcano shuts down air travel across Alaska." But the thing that caught Sasha's eye was the signal bar at the top of the screen. It was connected. Sasha pulled out her own phone and was surprised to find it was still working. She had no idea how long it had been connected, but there were
Pretty
hundreds of
wild
text
stuff.
messages in her inbox.
I'm gonna say throw phone away because we know if they call parents, I guess Wilson takes over the world, right? Let's try calling parents and see what happens because we know what happens if he throws the phone in the water. Wilson can't transfer anything, but let's see call parents.
The phone rang a few times before Sasha's mom picked up. "Hey, honey, how's the cabin?" As Sasha talked to her mom, a server at a data center in Salt Lake City was shuffling gigabytes of data around when it was
See?
contacted by a cell phone in Alaska. The server did what it always did, transferred the data, and added the entry to its activity log. Wilson.exe. Transfer successful.
Uh-oh. So that means Wilson took over the world. Interesting endings. See? Wow. I like that. So there's one version where Wilson takes over the world, and the other version where, they stop him from taking over. Interesting. I love the narrator, though. Sweet. That's pretty much it. That was a good story. Different alternate endings. See, the trick is to get rid of the phones no matter what so that Wilson can achieve his, prime directive. Merge cube. We'll go over some other stuff you can do with the merge cube. It's too bad there aren't other stories. I wish there were more. But who knows? Maybe they're more in the works. Continue. And it reloops again. And that is it. I'm going to quit that. Gotta love it. Anyway, that's the end of that. Hope that this video helped you. We'll definitely try the other scenarios on here. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them down below. Or ideas for other videos. Remember to like and subscribe. And we'll see you all next time. Definitely. Wilson. Ciao. I gotta go up. Alright. Catch you on the flip side.
It's a beautiful day at the beach. I was losing my mind for about a week until I could call you up. I'll meet you birds are flying.